G'day, I'm Chris Ketter and I'm a Labor Senator for Queensland. I'm also the chair of the Senate Economics References Committee. My committee does a lot of work inquiring into economic issues like corporate tax avoidance, the fairness of the business tax cuts and superannuation regulations. We also examine economic issues affecting particular industries such as the dairy industry, non-conforming building products, manufacturing and financial services. Many economic issues stem from social issues, and conversely, many social issues are the result of economic inequality. Rising inequality is undoubtedly one of the major policy challenges facing modern society, particularly in Australia. As a Queenslander, from a state with amazingly diverse regions, from eucalypt and rainforests, to the outback with vast different distances between rural towns and major cities, the issue of regional inequality is something that I'm passionate about addressing. I've travelled hundreds of thousands of kilometres across Queensland. In my career as an industrial officer and union official, I represented workers from the southeast corner up to Rockhampton. I regularly visited workplaces in Warwick, Gladstone, Maryborough, Bundaberg, Toowoomba, the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast, and Rockhampton. I also took on the cases of workers in Cairns, Airlie Beach, Townsville. Since becoming a senator in 2014, I've been back to these regions and more, including Torres Strait, St George, Roma, Winton, Beaudesert, Mackay, Gympie. As a duty senator for the regional electorates of Flynn, Maranoa and Wright, I've been numerous times to Gladstone, Emerald, Mount Morgan, Longreach, Barcaldine and Boona. I've heard the anecdotal evidence about regional disparity, and I've witnessed it firsthand, and the data backs it up. When it comes to health, employment, education, telecommunications and internet access, wealth and business activity, it's clear that our regions are falling behind. The extent of inequality in our regions must be exposed. That's why in February this year, I moved a motion in the Senate to establish an inquiry into the indicators of and impact of regional inequality in this country. I believe regional inequality isn't something that we should just accept. Governments at all levels have a responsibility to act to ensure that every Australian gets their fair go, regardless of gender, race or geography. This Senate inquiry is the time for regional Australia to tell us what they need, whether it's more education opportunities, better health services, restoration of penalty rates, more funding for local infrastructure, or a more reliable NBN. The committee has already received 124 submissions from councils, unions, workers, business owners and advocacy groups. Almost a quarter of submissions are from Queensland, where regional inequality is biting hard. That's why our public hearing program will commence in Queensland, in Emerald, on the 29th of August. In order to fully inform myself and the committee's work, I'm also undertaking informal consultations with stakeholders across regional Queensland. I'm in Mount Isa next week, Mackay on the 4th of September, and Townsville and Palm Island on the 5th and 6th of September. I'll travel back to Cairns and surrounds in early October and head west to Toowoomba, Dalby and back to Roma in November. I will provide as many opportunities as possible for the people living in our regions, families, workers, small business owners, farmers, educators and decision makers like local councils to have a voice in the processes of government. I want to give you a chance to put your views on the record and ask the government, through the committee and through me, to act on your behalf. Details of where and when will be available on my website, www.chrisketter.org. Following our formal public hearings, the committee will consider the evidence and deliver a report with recommendations to the government, due on the 30th of June 2019. The Senate Economics References Committee has a proven track record in shining a light on contemporary issues and driving government action. We shone a spotlight on multinational tax avoidance and the government was forced to act. We shone a spotlight on the behaviour of the banks and the shortcomings of the regulators, and eventually forced the government to act. We have shone a spotlight on the issue of non-conforming building products, particularly the importance of flammable cladding and illegal asbestos, which is forcing the government to act. Through this inquiry, we can expose another important economic and social issue, regional inequality, and once again create an action plan for change.